Righty then. United 2, Leipzig 3. As it says in the title, the blame game. Who's to blame? Loads of people are going to have loads of different thoughts on that. Who's to blame? And for some reason, it always boils down to the manager. Which I never agree on. You should know this by now if you're watching me and if you're knowing it and you're sitting here commenting, Ollie out. Just go fuck yourself, basically. I honestly don't want you to watch my videos, and I don't fucking care. No one seems to want the players to accept the same sort of level of responsibility that they want from managers. And I never understood this thing where the manager's constantly to blame. That's not to say that I don't think Ollie is blameless, because I do think there's proportions of blame to be had. But just like there's proportions of blame to be had for the players, there's proportions of blame to be had for the manager. And no one seems as keen to just fucking sack players as they do with management. And I don't understand that, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. United have had a weird season this year. We've had injuries to a couple of players, so we've not seen the best of them. We've had some form issues with a couple of key players. And we've also had to deal with the pre-season. Now, the pre-season one's a strange one, because there's levels of preparation that you can have going into those early games, and I think we're over that now. I think we're well over that, and I think you might start to see the lack of preparation start to come back and probably have some sort of a toll later in the season. Probably at the back end of the season, certainly now that we're in the Europa League. I think that at the stage that United are at now, it's not really a factor. So I don't think you can blame it on that. Can you blame it on the Pogba situation 24 hours ago? I don't think you can blame it entirely on that. But I don't know, and we're never going to find out, whether Ollie had to change his tactics for this game or not. We're never going to know this. We're never going to know what the internal machinations of this would be. You're never going to know if that first 20 minutes were because the players were unprepared with the formation they were in, because they spent the last 2 days before travelling to Germany working on a different system, which all went tits up when Paul Pogba decided to let his agent do his talking for him on Monday afternoon. We're not going to know that. And for everyone saying that didn't happen, well, you don't know it didn't happen. And I don't know it did. I'm just saying it's a factor. And for everyone that wants, if you're so childish you need a here's why answer, then just fuck off and go and watch another idiot. Don't bother watching this channel, because I try and do things where we look at actually how it's gone down, who's to blame, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Now, United are 6th in the table in the Premier League, which is our bread and butter. We will be level with Chelsea in 3rd if we win our game in hand, and we're well above Manchester City, and we've got the opportunity to put daylight between ourselves and Manchester City this weekend, albeit I don't have a lot of faith in that. Now, when you look at how this group went down, we win the first 2 out of 2. PSG and RB Leipzig, some emphatic victories that actually no one expected us to get in either of those games. Brilliant individual and tactical performances from both the team and the manager. Then we lose to Istanbul. And at the time you're like, this is bad, because even if we beat them at home, it should have been job done by that. It should have just been job done. And you look at why do we lose in Istanbul? There was individual players missed chances. There was individual players that led to defensive errors. And ultimately, we ended up getting spanked on the counter by a team who were well worth the win. It wasn't a luck thing. They were worth it. Then we have PSG at home. We need a draw and we lose. We have RB Leipzig on the road and we need a draw and we lose. Not so much in the RB Leipzig game, because we were just out of the tie pretty much after 20 minutes. Which does make me think that plans changed and we tried to cuff it. But the PSG game, United dominated various parts of that game and had ample opportunities to actually win that tie. There was more than enough. If Tony Marshall would have found the net, United would have been through already. A single point. And we didn't get it. Now, we came up against the semi-finalists and the finalists. When the group was drawn, everyone said group of death. United aren't getting out of it. And guess what? United didn't get out of it. Should we be shocked? Are United a team as good as RB Leipzig at the moment? I'd actually like to think we are. Are we as good as Paris Saint-Germain at the moment? In reality, probably not. I think they've probably got more players that are better than ours than we've got players that are better than theirs. This isn't the first time United have come out in a group stage. United have come out in a group stage several times, depressingly. Including with Lou Van Gaal and twice with Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, you can say, oh, the players that we've got, they're good enough to get through the group stage, and I would agree with you. I think United could have won our first 5. Tonight's a different story, but I think United could have been 5-0 going into this game tonight and rested everybody. Or even got a point last week and managed to rest everybody ahead of the Manchester derby this weekend. I firmly believe United could have done that. Well, Fergie in 2006. Fergie had Rio, Ronaldo, Roy Keane, Rooney, Giggs, Scholes, Evra, Van der Sar. And he didn't come up against semi-finalists and finalists in the group stage. It wasn't acceptable then for Fergie, and it wasn't acceptable tonight for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm bringing that up to give a little bit of perspective. The greatest manager the world's ever seen has fucked it up at times. Well, the greatest manager the world ever seen never had to put up with this absolute shit show that we find online at the moment. Now, if I want to look at the game itself tonight, the actual match tonight, if there's any point trying to analyse the match, well, here's fucking half an attempt at trying to do that. United had the opportunity to just get a single point, which actually we did come very close to getting at the end of the game. But as soon as that third went in, there was just no chance of that being a realistic thing. Solskjaer's now lost 6 of 10 Champions League games as manager, winning the other 4. United conceded 3 goals in back-to-back Champions Leagues for the first time since 2003. Again, another record of Fergie's. Before everyone's like, Fergie never did this. Maguire, give us a little bit of insight into perhaps a why for all of the people instantly wanting to pin this on the manager. And I actually think a lot of this actually needs to be pinned on Harry Maguire. His positioning and organising of the back line was fucking atrocious. He said, we started the game too slow. The first 20 minutes weren't good enough. We weren't at it. We failed to deal with the cross, and that's why we've been beaten. Now listen to this. It's the basics of football. Doesn't matter what shape you're in. If you can't defend crosses, you'll lose football matches. Now, I wonder why that's in his mind. Why that line is in his mind. Doesn't matter what shape you're in. I'm wondering, have they been talking about the shape in the dressing room? Obviously, Ollie switched the shape up at half-time. I personally didn't think the 3 worked for us. So I think that's a valid criticism of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The back 3 didn't work for us. But the back 3 wasn't a bad... Let's go back all the way to the start of the game. Now, I picked... I believe it was a 4-2-3-1. I think. It might have been a 4-3-3 that I picked in my preview. But I did my preview prior to knowing what was going on. Firstly, with Pogba. And secondly, and importantly, with Cavani. Now, as soon as you lose Cavani, you've lost Marshall, and what's gone on with Paul Pogba, that definitely affects what's going on with the team setup. Now, Ollie might have known about Cavani and Marshall before he actually put his plan into place and before they trained on Sunday and Monday. The Pogba stuff came out while they were on the plane. So let's presume that Ollie put together a game plan. You have to look at what he's had taken away from him. Now, he can't play 3 forwards when he's only got 2 first-choice forwards. The third option is a Gallo. And you want to keep a Gallo on the bench, probably, and bring him on in an absolute emergency. So the 2 formations that you're going to be looking at are... You could look at a 4-3-3 if you want to make it lopsided and bring Juan Mata in, and I wouldn't. The other two options are you play the 3-5-2, which has worked for him in big games in the past. It's quite effectively worked for him in big games in the past, notably away in Europe and also against the likes of Manchester City, who Nagelsmann has got a weird obsession with. So playing a 3-5-2 in that sort of situation actually works quite well. What Leipzig did is they didn't match up the same way that the three is going to hit you in that formation. And they played by completely bypassing the two most important players. Now, when you come up against a Manchester City forward three, and usually they have a pair of eights that will, like Kevin De Bruyne sort of role, that will start to dictate the play for them. The back three works by going man for man against their forward three. The wing-backs come in and help you double up against their wingers. And then you have your two number sixes that also deny the space to their two number eights. It matches up really well, and it's a great formation to use in those sort of circumstances. Fair play to Nagelsmann. He mixed it up, and he went with a completely different shape and a completely different focus on where the ball goes. They didn't use Paulson like we all expected them to as a focal point. And they sort of totally bypassed our two number sixes, completely taking Matic and McTominay out of the game. Which is why Ollie switched it up, and fair play to him for switching it up. If he hadn't have switched it up, again, you could probably give him a bit of a rollicking for that. Now, he didn't get the formation right in the first half, but this is a guessing game sometimes, and sometimes you roll the wrong numbers. Now, the two formations you can play is a diamond, 4-4-2 diamond, or it's the shape that he went with, the 3-5-2. In hindsight, maybe the diamond would have been better. What we saw in the first half was Manchester United could not play through the middle. Now, they didn't really press. They had what you would call it a medium block. They allowed the defence to have the ball, and they invited us to try and play it into our creative players. They chopped off the passing lanes to McTominay and Matic, and they denied space to Bruno Fernandes. Effectively, killed United there and then. It was good tactics. It was good preparation from them. They correctly guessed how we were going to try and line up, and they got it right. And what they did when they was in possession was they were switching it from one channel to the next, totally bypassing them and completely befuddling our back three, which was not the most well-drilled anyway. They targeted Luke Shaw, they targeted Wan-Bissaka, and it was fucking fruitful for them. And I would also say, as I mentioned earlier, Harry Maguire, massively at fault for some of this, didn't get involved in the game in any way, shape or form, and was a massive passenger when he's defending, which is his sole job and the thing he's meant to do the most. When he switched it up and he went to a back four, he brought in Van der Beek. Now, the issue I saw in the first half, the inability to be able to play it into midfield, meaning you can't hold it in midfield. At half-time in the watch-along with Paddock, I said there's two things that you do here. The one thing that you do, you now bring a Gallo on. It's now emergency time. You're 2-0 down. You bring a Gallo on and you go high and direct to him. You ask him to hold it up and bring Bruno into play because now he's 10 yards out from the box. Bring Rashford, bring Greenwood into the game. That might have been effective. Or you bring in Van der Beek and you actually try and hold the ball in the middle and have someone that can progress the ball through the centre of the pitch. That's what we did, and immediately United got onto the front foot and we looked dangerous. I'll admit I don't understand the substitution of Tellez. I thought Luke Shaw was fucking dreadful in the first half, and Wan-Bissaka was dreadful as well. In fact, I don't know who you could say had a good game. I don't think anybody had a good game today. And that's the nature of a team sport. When enough players don't have good games, you're not going to progress. And even the people that came on, Pogba had a good game. Pogba, annoyingly, 100% dribbles, 100% aerial duels, 77% pass accuracy, even when he was being very forceful and trying to make it happen. 29 touches, 2 chances created, 1 goal. But did Mino Raiola's comments derail what could have been a starring performance from Paul Pogba in this? Leroy in the comments, I saw Paul Scholes had tried digging him out, but it's valid. Did De Gea do enough for any of their goals? The third one especially was dog shit. Did he do anything for them? I don't know if he did. And that's the disappointing thing. I mean, we now sit here facing Europa League, and I fucking hate Europa League. It plays absolute havoc with our entire schedule from a pure selfish point of view. Like, I fucking hate having to watch football on Sundays. It's shit. That's my day off, man. It's a late finish on a Sunday. It's a late finish on a fucking Thursday. It's a fucking nightmare. And it's the arse end of... Do you know what? Fucking aren't Real Madrid in it this year? Thursday night might be the place to be, you know. What's Tuanzebe done wrong? But to be fair, I thought he was shit tonight when he came on. What's my thoughts on our half-ass press? We only press well when we're desperate. Didn't see everybody pressing at all tonight. If Ollie wasn't a United legend, there'd be no making an excuse for him. All right, let's destroy that myth. Explain to me then how he's above Pep Guardiola in the table, who spent like a fucking billion on a team that had won a title. There's no such thing as patience in the game anymore. He's not been in the job 2 years. Pep's been there for 4.5 years and spent $1 billion on a title-winning team. Surely Pep should have his own fucking way of doing it all by now. Surely he should have sorted out all the little kinks in his team by now, right? Fucking Lampard got schooled by Solskjaer last season. Schooled by him. The only time we beat him was when we fucking tossed it off in the FA Cup. He gets 6 signings, and it's them signings that are carrying them this season. Do you know what I mean? See the differences, lads. Recruitment's massive. So important. Pep has a way of playing. Well, how's that fucking way of playing doing behind United in the fucking table, pal? Let's get it right. What the fuck does the system mean when you're fucking below us in the table? At least they play good ball. Do they? What the fuck does that mean? Pep is rebuilding. Well, what the fuck is Solskjaer doing? Rebuilding what? His own team? 4 years in. When rebuilding. Fuck off. Honestly, the most absolutely wanked off manager ever. Sit here on the up and playing good football. They're actually not, aren't they? This is the worst season he's had at the club. Fucking behave yourself. What's Pep got to do with anything? He's trying to throw in a little bit of perspective, mate. Everyone's losing their goddamn mind about Solskjaer. United went the furthest in the Europa League last season. We got the shortest amount of rest. The shortest amount of rest. And we didn't have the squad with the riches that Manchester City has got. Think about it. Why play with 5 defenders and 2 defensive midfielders? Because he was trying to keep the fucking game tight. Imagine if he'd have gone for it and conceded 2 goals at the start. Everyone had been like, so naive. You can't fucking win. Everyone's a fucking 2020 hindsight and fucking perfect, aren't they? You forget like the greatest managers ever occasionally fuck it up. How this has become something about all the managers all the time, I don't fucking know. People need to start fucking digging the players out for some shit performances. Because there were some players there that are on some obscene fucking wages and have got obscene reputations and put in some absolute fucking League 2 performances. And if that doesn't change, you'll never fucking progress. Laters.